And so a lot of people have gone for a lot of things that way through life. They've gone for things that do not actually satisfy. And what happens is they get enslaved to it. They have to keep going back to it. Now, the Lord Jesus seems to change the conversation. She's interested. Okay, I'm interested. I'd like to not be thirsty and to not have to keep coming back here to draw. And he says in verse 16, go call your husband and come here. Why are you shifting the conversation? Well, he's not actually shifting the conversation. He's progressing the conversation. He's progressing it past like the physical well and the physical water that you're thirsty and to go draw to the real wells in her life, the real emptiness in her life, the real areas where she's not satisfied. Go call your husband and come here. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Jesus said to her, you have well said, I have no husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and the one whom you now have is not your husband. In that you spoke truly. So when she answers, I have no husband, what's she doing there? Well, she's lying, or at least kind of lying, right? The Lord Jesus says, you've spoken well. Like, that's actually true. You don't have a husband. You're, in fact, living with a man is what's going on. But you have had 5 husbands. That's a tough life. She's like 6 men so far in life. That's a tough life. And so you can see how he's exposing the hollowness in her life, the emptiness in her life, the dissatisfaction. She certainly hasn't found rest. She hasn't found settledness. She keeps going back to the wells to draw and coming up thirsty still and empty still. But she keeps going back and trying. And so she's enslaved to that. In Ephesians 4:22, it talks about how people in the old man were governed by deceitful desires, deceitful lusts. And that the result of these is that there's corruption that happens. The corruption that's in the world through lust, 2 Peter 1:4 says. In what way are they deceitful? So lust is desire, right? In what way are the desires deceitful? Well, they're deceitful because they present as if this is what you need, this will fill you, this will satisfy you, but they don't. And so they're deceitful. It's pretense. I mean, you can think of like if you went to a carnival or something, they have this very glorious looking thing, but it's actually made out of cardboard, right? It's not the real deal, right? It's a facade. And so these desires are deceitful because they present as if they could satisfy, but they can't. And the trouble then is you keep going down because you have to keep pushing through even moral boundaries to try to get satisfaction. Sorry, I'm doing this little circle like a toilet. Like, that's what happens with people's lives. They keep going down. They corrupting happens in their life, but it's because of the deceitful desires. They're going for things that can never satisfy them. And so the Lord Jesus is offering her, she can escape that slavery and the corruption that comes from the deceitful desires, the hollowness